welcome everybody to the Hangout tonight with Ben, Stowe and Howie Darkstar. And you can see they're in a great mood. They're laughing. They're having a wonderful time. I'll bring my mic just a little closer. Tonight, we're just going to kind of freeform it, and we're going to talk about better living through technology for DJs. Is the topic that I came up with off the top of my head. So I hope
Brian, turn on your recorder.
What?
I don't see it being recorded.
It's recording. It's recording.
It is? Okay. Sorry about that.
It says up in the corner it's recording.
I see one that says recording, yeah.
Automatically.
Oh, okay, I see it.
It's automatically recording. Howie, you're blind. But it's okay.
Well, there's a big one down below, but okay, gotcha.
There's that technology we were talking about.
We have somebody who would like to come in and join us, DJ Scott Carroll. I'm going to admit him.
Let him in.
Do me a favor. Open the door and let him in. What's up, Scott? Can you hear us?
Start your video. There he is.
There he is. Hi, Scott.
Hey,
how are you doing?
How you been?
Doing well. Welcome to the show of not really a show. Welcome to the Hangout.
Yeah, I haven't met Ben yet, I don't think.
Well,
hey, Scott, how are
you? Ben, Scott.
Yeah, let me adjust my cam here.
Scott only has half a head. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I see. The Scott apparently looks like a top of a head.
Yeah, there we go. This technology, man.
I know.
It's nice to meet the rest of you, Scott.
Yes, thank you.
Your forehead.
First the wheel, now this. My gosh, when is the madness going to end?
Oh gosh.
So
Man.
Scott, tonight we're going to talk about better living through technology for DJs. Talk about the things that just kind of make our lives easier. Ben's a great guy to have on for this because he's smarter than I am. He's much smarter than I am.
Just better looking.
Well, that and younger, all of those things.
Not much, really.
A superior being to me, period. So we're happy to have him here.
As much help as I can get on technology, the DJ part I have it down, but I'm always I'm always open to it. After 36 years of this, longer than that, actually. I started when I was 17 doing this. I still had hair. So, yeah, actually kind of just like, hey, let's go have some fun.
One moment. Howie, can you see that people are trying to get in?
No, I cannot.
Why can't you see that?
I have 4 participants, but I don't see how.
There's one person waiting. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I have the chat room open and I can't. I'm going to go down to.
If you can't, I can just do it. It's fine.
Yeah. Todd. What's his name? Todd?
Yeah, Todd. I just let him in.
Well, Scott, let me say that first of all, Brian, and I are obviously really close friends, and we enjoy a good sense of humor with each other. But obviously, I have a great deal of respect for Brian as well, and I know he's a very smart guy. That said, I enjoy the luxury of being of traveling around the world and speaking as an expert in technology and having people believe me when I say things, and having people call me with hard questions and think that I'm a guy that has those answers. And many times I do. But that said, and I'd love to help you with your technology. That said, though, I'm still learning. We're all still learning. There isn't anybody that's climbed that mountain.
If they do, they need to stop doing this. They need to get out of the DJ business and quit it. Be done with it.
Preach.
I'm sorry.
Once you know anything,
so Scott, if I can ever be of assistance, I'd be happy to do so. And you're in good company because we're all just a bunch of guys trying to learn this like the next guy. So,
Ben, I'm sorry, Ben. In your estimation, what is the one thing that has been presented to us, technology-wise, let's say within the last 5 years, that you think is the thing that's the game changer for us? What's the one piece of technology?
Within the last 5 years, that's tough. It's hard to say. There's a couple things that are much older than that I think they're certainly coming into their own. I would, even though it's not something we would use to DJ, I would still include the smartphone in that list because it's certainly changed the way we conduct our business.
Yeah.
I would say, even though LED technology goes back to, really the 70s, I would say that certainly is a game changer. Within the last 5, I'm not sure. Nothing just pops into my head. We're you familiar with Moore's Law, where he talks about, chip processing expansion from IBM and that sort of thing.
Howie is. I'm not. But
Yeah, how he's loving it right now.
I was like, yeah, I know all about that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
And we chart, the progress of, transistors on integrated circuits and that sort of thing. And we look at, this was charted out by Moore, a long time ago. But what it shows us is this exponential increase in technology. Basically, the more we know, the more we know. And the more we know, the faster we know it. And so I'm sort of saying I don't know what the thing I would put my finger on in the last 5 years, but I'm really excited for the next 5 years. I've been privy to some of the releases at NAMM and some really cool stuff on the horizon. So,
well, Ben, with that being said, let me ask you this, Ben.
Sure.
Streaming has a lot of us DJs. Me, I'm not scared about it because I can go back to CDs or I can go back to vinyl. If MP3s were to disappear tomorrow, I could probably go and be able to survive. I still have my Technique 1200s. I still have my dual CD player. I never got rid of that stuff because I always felt like if I ever needed to go back to it, I could go back to it without technology pushing me out of the business. What do you think?
Well, backup plan is certainly important. As far as how I feel about streaming, streaming as opposed to MP3 on a drive, streaming would make me personally nervous because you have a single point of failure at that point.
Yeah.
With media on a drive, you can have a backup drive and you still have some failure points, but we all know it's not, if or when something will go wrong. So me personally, and look, if you're a DJ that's watching out there and you stream, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just speaking for myself.
I'm just bringing it up. I hope I didn't open a can of worms on some of these guys that are doing it. Well, see, skating rinks I see are going to this feature of, I don't know what this thing's called. It's a little box called Rock or something like that a lot of them are using now. And if their Wi-Fi goes down or their internet provider goes out, and I've seen it happen, boom, they're scurrying around trying to grab somebody's phone that has something on it to get through the rest of the evening because now they've lost everything. They've had everything. They're depending on this little box to give them all their music, their video, and everything through this thing. It's great when it works.
Streaming is like that, though. I mean, there are people in California who are like, yeah, you should be streaming. But in California, they have much better wireless services than we do.
Oh,
where I live, if I'm doing an event and I'm in the basement or in some concrete bunker, which we have a lot of around here, some of these older buildings, I can't get a signal through there or nothing stable. So I'm just not there yet. I like to have it right there in front of me.
I think there's a fundamental difference in what you're talking about too, Scott. Where a skating rink might use something like Rock 300 or something where they have a music subscription service that plays.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, and we actually install some of those systems for bowling alleys and that sort of thing, where we install the PA end, that they would connect that box to. So we're familiar with that. But I think that's fundamentally different than as DJs, we're called to not just play some preordained playlist. We're not just amplifying something streamed. Obviously, you're selecting music and you're providing MC talent and that sort of thing. So I think there's a lot more to what DJs bring to the table. That's what I sell a lot, but that's what I really try to push out. Now I know who you are. When the Evolve 50 come out, you really pushed to really get it out there. You were one of the retailers that really pushed to get the Evolve 50 out. And a lot of us didn't. We bought it based on what we seen, that what was put out there on Disc Jockey News and what was really, and you were the forefront of putting that out there. So you were on the money with that. I own a set of them and I love them, by the way. So I'm not who you were. I had an inside track. I mean, it was something I knew about for 3 years, and I was a bit involved in the design process of it. I had to put my finger on who it was. Now I know who it is. Hey, it happens. That's what we have out there. Brian, I'm glad it worked out. Speaking of technology, how are you enjoying what Howie did for you? Howie, congratulations to you, by the way, by putting that out. I hope somebody picks it up and goes with it. But it's science fiction, man. I'm just going to see where it goes.
Is it working?
It's science fiction for me. It works. I don't understand how it works. I don't want to know how it works.
Wait until you buy batteries for that.
That's for Ben. That's for Ben and Howie. They're the ones. Yeah, the batteries for it. By the way, I went to Sears. Sears is closing everywhere. I went to Sears and I bought 3 24 packs of diehards for $6.97 a piece. So I'm good. I mean, if
what
I can.
What are you getting? About 6 hours out of that?
We're estimating, yeah. Excuse me. We're estimating about 6 hours.
Brian, it's not what did you call it? Science fiction?
It is science fiction.
It's not
math.
science fiction. The dark side is a path to many forces one might consider unnatural. So, Howie's just the electronic Sith over there.
Well,
it's just math and science. Is all it really was. I put
say
it
that
together,
all the time.
And and then Ben, it was cool to have someone with the same level of knowledge that when I reached out to you for those Electro Voice Live X, the ELX 112s, oh my gosh, they are a monster with this setup. And people didn't believe it. First somebody shook their head like when they saw it, and they're right, you're gonna. And then when I fired it up, they were like, oh my gosh, it really does work. And then they actually looked under my scrim on my table. They're like, okay, where's the hidden,
Wow.
And and
I like it when people look under my scrim.
Anyway, Brian, thanks. I actually did that really to give back to Brian. I appreciate everything he did with that video.
Indecent exposure.
I really don't want to have a 9-to-5 business of building these, but if someone wants to build them, cool.
We're gonna work on that.
I would just wanted to help Brian out. That's the truth.
No,
but
the thing is, when you send me something, what am I going to do? Not show anybody? I got to show people. And then what am I going to say? You can't have one? Okay, so if you like it.
Yeah, but you did say that to them. You go, look what I have and you can't have it.
Well, yeah, I did kind of, but
I kind of ignored that I think I've seen that on the cave or something. But
everyone ignored it because everyone said, Howie, build me one. I'm like, oh, stop. But yeah, I don't want to teach people about things more than I already have, especially if they can't have one right now. But the interest is there, and that's half the battle. What I was getting at when I initially asked about the technology that's been a game changer for us as DJs within the last 5 years, I actually have the thing, and it's not a specific thing, but it's just that.
But you can't have one.
Yeah.
Well, I can have whatever I want.
I did that to you. You're saying I've got the thing and you can't have it.
Hey, Cadillac sent me brand new Escalade. I want to do a video on it. Thanks. Bye. Really, the fact that things are getting more compact and manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because I've thought about this too. I've almost been born at the perfect time. Not only did I get to experience all the cool music of the 70s, not only did I get to ride muscle cars that didn't cost $300,000, but when I had my stroke, it just happened to be at the same time that everything was getting smaller. And that's cool. And I reached out to you, Ben. You were the first guy to show me the EV, the little ZLX?
ZXA1 sub.
ZXA1 sub. And you were the first guy to say, hey, this is possible. Here you go. You showed that to me. It wasn't long after my stroke. Maybe it was. I don't know. But it was when I was building the system.
Is that kind of when everything went tabletop, sort of? When we went back to tabletop on everything? We had to bag everything, and we went away from the old 19-inch rack mounting everything?
Well, I had to because I couldn't manage it. So I had to find alternatives. And I was really just trying to get back on the road to stay relevant because I didn't want to just sit here and tell people what's what. I wanted to be a working DJ, and I could have very well just not done that, but I wanted to stay the working DJ because that's what I love to do. But it's so cool because every year, Ben, something new happens, something new comes out that makes my life easier. Mm-hmm. It's so cool. And if this would have happened to me 10 years ago, I might have been in trouble. So,
Well, I'll tell you, Brian, obviously you and I've been very close friends for a long time, and watching how you've overcome the adversity that came with your stroke was remarkable to me. I had a very close friend who was a DJ, actually used to work at NLFX, was a Division I football prospect.
you told me about him, yeah.
College, high school wrestling, high school state champion in wrestling, college wrestler, on a national championship team, and had a stroke and is completely lost half his mobility and the ability to speak. And so that was devastating, obviously ended his prospects of being a DJ. And so watching your progress has been remarkable and encouraging, but also from my seat at NLFX, I'm blessed that we know DJs that are blind. We know other DJs that are overcoming all these, and you're right. Technology is becoming very much our friend in a lot of ways. I think it's pretty awesome. It's unleashing talent in places where otherwise it might not be utilized.
Or it's keeping talent from going away because
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I phased into it. That's what I
daughter. I have a daughter that's largely deaf, and yet wants to be a famous singer, and I let her sing her heart out. I know how hard it is to be a famous singer too, from my work with touring, but the fact is that technology may bridge that gap someday. Who am I to say? You know what?
It's so cool. I mean, there are people out there who were ready to call it quits, be it bad knees, diabetes, whatever the case might be. And they're looking at what I did out of necessity and saying, that's going to work for me too. Maybe I don't have to get out of this. Maybe I can stay.
I wanted to get my kids into this at one time, but they grew up on me and I couldn't get them into this small business. Maybe I can get my grandkids. They're little right now, but the oldest grandchild, I'm going to get him one of those little controllers. I'm going to get him started.
Get him while they're young.
Get him while he's young, man. I want to pass along what I know to a lot of other people. We used to hide. We used to take and hide all of our little secrets. Oh, don't give that away. Don't give. And Brian, you know where I'm going with this. We can't do that.
I never
Scott, maybe a good one to start with would be like the Newmark DJ2 Go 2.
Yeah. Well, is that the one with the lights? Is that the one with the lights on it?
Well, it does light up. It's basically just a USB interface to a computer and has a small sound card in it. But I think a good one to sort of dabble, a good backup controller for DJs, no doubt, but a good one for maybe a grandkid to just start dabbling and experimenting with, some basic DJ technique and that sort of thing. And a shameless plug, they're in stock at NLFX.
Well, I got mine from you, Ben, and I've been using it because I have a gig coming up on the weekend, and I just set cue points with it, so I don't have to break out the big setup. So.
I've got two of these Hercules controllers, and I'm about. They're really. When I first got them, they're a French-based company, I believe. They're out of France.
Yes, they are.
They came with that R series, an excellent controller, had the XLRs in the back of it, strong, but you can't hook a microphone to it. It goes crazy. It does nothing but sit there and hum. You can't. I've got to run a mixer, and I know Howie was talking about how a lot of times you can run without a mixer. You can't do it just on a controller with that. I'm going to have to move up.
Let me tell you my experience on this, and I'm speaking as a dad. When I've told this story somewhere before, I know I have, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but I was in the car business probably, a long time ago, I guess. Stevie was tiny. My daughter, she's 20 years old now. She was maybe 3-4 years old. And the company I worked for, it was a pretty tight dealership. It was part of a dealership group. And as a group, just us, our store, decided that we wanted to have like an annual party, just a nice thing in a park. And everybody contributed something. And I said, well, I do DJ sometimes. I'm like, okay, yeah, bring your stuff. And I decided to DJ the party. That was my contribution. So, of course, it's bring your family, volleyball, face painting. Everybody did a little something. And I'm playing tunes. And Stevie, she's little. She's really little. She walks up to the booth or where I had this thing set up. People were playing volleyball and doing different things. And she said, Daddy, can I talk on the mic? And I'm like, I guess. I mean, this is a freebie. Who cares? Do whatever you want. This kid picks up the microphone, and she's tiny. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wild Dodge Company party. If you want to play volleyball, it's happening right over here next to the parking lot. We have face painting going on underneath the tent, and there's plenty of food. So everybody have a good time, and if you need to hear anything at all, you let my daddy know, he'll play it for you. And she put the microphone down, and she walked away, and the whole place was like, and our GM came up to me and said, how long did it take you to train her to say that? Like, dude,
About 1 second.
Just said it. I don't know where it came from. And I'm like, oh my God. And I know. So, then, she's interested in turntables. So I give her 2 copies of Dan Hartman's Instant Replay. And she throws them on the decks and she hooks them up and she's bead juggling and she's like 5. My point being is she's good. She got an ear for this. She can mix. She can MC. She's got a hell of a personality. But DJing is daddy's thing. She wants nothing to do with it. But she does like photo booth. She's a photographer. Photography's her thing. So, I mean, it's here for her. I have this stuff. I've tried to turn her on the lights. Like, hey, you want to put these lights in your bedroom? Not really, Daddy. I'm like, I have extra. You can take. No, Daddy, I really don't want that. That's your thing. But when the photography thing came up and she saw a photo booth, we were out at one of the, I think it was the West Coast DJ's Live, the one of the Practice and Enjoys events that we started around the country. Somebody brought a photo booth. I think it was the Bedkeys, and she was fascinated. So I got her a photo booth, and that's her thing. So kids are like that. I mean, I know my dad was a machinist, and I have no interest in being a machinist at all. I don't own a micrometer. I don't want a micrometer.
Oh,
that
you
was
need to have
Dad's
one.
thing.
Yeah.
You've got 20 toolboxes. You should have a micrometer.
I'm not a machinist, and I have a micrometer.
Dude, I got a tape measure and a ruler. That's as close as it's going to get for me.
Brian, all the cool kids have micrometers.
Yeah.
I'm just not that
You
cool.
want to be in the in crowd or not? Peer pressure, Brian. Go get some nerd toys,
But it's just something that the kids either jump on it or not. You gotta let them be them. I mean, if my mom was in a disco and I really thought that was cool. I listened to her. My big brother was into Van Halen and Ted Nugent and Led Zeppelin, and I thought that was cool, and I was into that. And my other sister was into the Police and Joan Armatrading and the Cars and the new wave stuff. I got into that. And then my big sister was into, believe it or not, Linda Ronstadt, Barry Manilow, Rod Stewart. I got into that. So pretty well-rounded that way. So that was what I always grabbed onto. That was my thing. Now, none of them are big into music now. I was the only one who kind of latched onto that. But, yeah, anything that they're interested in, I'm generally not. I mean, that's just kind of my thing. So everybody's different. All these kids are different.
Wow. Well, you can't put them in something that they really are not going to, there's no passion for it. And
I think sometimes kids do things to please us.
They do.
Not my kids.
Poor Ben. Maybe someday.
You know my son, Brian.
I know your son. Your son is awesome.
He's
Can't wait to hang out with him again.
well, you might get your chance.
I'm a really good Uncle Brian. I mean,
I'm thinking about bringing my daughter to Midwest. We'll see. My youngest.
Bring her. I'm an excellent Uncle Brian. Say what you will about me, but I'm a good Uncle Brian, and I take care of these kids.
You're kind of like Uncle Brian is like Uncle Buck. Remember that movie?
Giant pancakes.
Giant pancakes.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's why we're such good friends, Brian. Honestly, I just think the world of you.
Oh, dude.
I see we got Robin in here. We got Tori. We got Tom.
Oh, crap. We got somebody trying to come in here.
Yeah. Do we got some
Yeah, while
folks
you're on that, Brian,
Yeah.
I don't have any controls here. I can't control like I did the last couple shows because I'm not a co-host. So
we let Brian be in charge. Who put Brian in charge?
This might just be a true hangout.
Poor Brian. You're just getting
So if anybody who's in the chat and we can see you down here is interested in saying something, we will mute Scott Carroll so he shuts up and you can say something.
I love it. I'm the cause of that 3 hour. I was the cause of that. I blame myself for that.
Scott, you are the Jay Brennan of this hangout.
I'm glad you're here. He said we're doing a 2-hour thing tonight. I said, my gosh, am I going to be able to talk for 2 hours? I don't know. So
he said I showed up and he says, "Oh my God, we're gonna go over." I better shut up. I'll let y'all. I've been listening.
No, you're good. I'm breaking your balls. I'm just having fun with you. This is what friends do.
Word, Scott.
You can't have fun. Forget it. Right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I don't take it personal.
No. I'm just teasing. I dish it out and I can take it. That's my superpower.
You got to be able to do that.
And Ben is the same way.
You agree with this, Howie? Help me.
You're on your own.
I see we got Michael and Randy on here also. I'm just checking out who else is on.
I'm looking for hands. If anybody puts their hands up, then we will we'll get you in here. Otherwise,
at the break, Brian. At the break,
I think Tori's cat wants
into the controls and make me a co-host, and I can handle that side of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, maybe I can do it now.
That's got to be the best behaved cat I've ever seen.
Wait! I can do it right now. I remember how to do this.
Make me a co-host, and I'll handle that for you.
I remember how to do this.
Yeah.
There, it's magical. All right, Howie, all you.
2 of them. All right.
I've only done this, I think, once before as the host.
That one over there, he's like, "Hey, I'm taking a bath. Kindly not put the camera on me while I'm taking a bath here."
No, but I've back to what I was originally talking about with the technology part with things getting smaller. Every year, I find that I'm building a new system because it's just getting easier and easier. And this year, I don't know how much I talked about it, but I jacked up my ankle, and it's fine now. But I had to bring Blanca on the road with me, and that was a little counterproductive, but it was kind of cool in the same regard that she spotted things that I wasn't really thinking about. So she's carrying gear, and do I want to use the word complain? I will. Complaining about how heavy the cable case is and complaining about how heavy the speakers are.
Hey, listen, Brian, send her with me. We'll take her out on a tour when she, we got 10 semis for Brad Paisley. Let her unload a few of those. She'll be happy to get back to you.
Well, I mean, she's 5 feet tall. She's a little bitty thing. She's like a little Puerto Rican Kylie Minogue. There's nothing to her. But she's pointing things out to me that I'm not even thinking about because I'm actually pretty strong for my situation. But yeah, it just got to the point where it was like, okay, she's seeing things I'm not. So I started addressing things that she saw, and it really made my life easier. It was cool to have somebody else there to see it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to NAMM. I want to see what else is out there. I've gotten as small with my mixing board as I think I possibly can with still having, having it to be, intuitive enough for me to DJ without it looking like I'm, playing off consumer electronics. The table, I love the Pro Event table. That's super easy. It goes up quick. The Evolve 50 speaker system is magnificent. I guess, Ben, I'm actually probably going to dive heavily into, and I'm saying it, I'm going to do DMX. I'm going to try to make this easy with DMX.
I'll get you there.
I know you will.
I got you.
Robin's got her hand up.
Oh,
well. All right. Hey, one of my favorite people. Let Robin in.
You gonna handle it, Ellie?
Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, it just looks like Ben kind of froze there.
Oh, did I?
I he's moving on my side.
Am I alive and well?
There you go.
It sounds like you're. Oh, okay.
He's back again.
You got some really
no, he froze again.
All right.
It's mic problems. I don't like it.
Tell you what, I'm gonna pop out and pop back in. All right, so let me back in, please.
You look fine, Ben. By the way, you're doing.
Yeah, you're fine, Ben.
Okay.
She's been having trouble down in Florida.
No, everybody else is moving. Ben is just frozen.
You know what, Robin? It was minus 30 here. Of course, I'm frozen.
Okay.
Well, it's so cold, even the pixels can't move.
And Robin's further south than I am.
You know what? It is. I'll tell you what. It was amazing to leave the office tonight at about 5:30, and it was still daylight out, and I thought that was awesome. And I'm gonna check and see here. It is all right. Y'all ready for this? 6 above. So
heat wave.
We are stoked. We are so happy about 6. That's crazy. What a paradigm shift, right? We're so happy about 6 above. And for those who are asking, I'm just gonna put this out in the public here. For those that were asking about my Star Wars app, yes, it's real, and it really tells me the weather. All right, so there you go.
Robin, I'm going to mute your mic. You're feeding back like mad. I don't know what's going on.
42. All right. Well,
That may be Robin.
That is Robin.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to make you all jelly here, but look at that.
Oh,
18.
Heat wave.
Yeah,
It's going to cool off, and then it's going to warm up, but that's what happens.
Hey, we're looking at supposed to be something like 39 on Friday. 39 on Friday.
I would rather have
where
your
you at?
temperatures
Tori's at 30.
steady.
Tori's at 30.
Victoria, where's she at?
We just had the other day, it was 60 degrees out, and then 3 days later, it was 11 degrees. I'd rather have a steady cold temperature than up and down like that.
Yeah, but up north, don't you have a different kind of cold than we do? Like, if it gets cold in Florida, it's a wet cold. And it's
Yeah. And we have a dry rain over here in Jersey, too.
Well, we're right on Lake Michigan, so it's kind of like Florida, but cold.
See, for us, minus 30 it's just painful, and like minus 10, minus 30, it doesn't matter. It's in fact, since we have a cat in the show, I got to tell you, my cat is going absolutely bananas because he can't go outside right now, and he tries. He'll sit by that door and he'll wait till you open it, and the effect of like the nimbus, that low-lying fog. Well, that's what happens when you open the door. That's that minus 30 air rushing in and meeting the warm air of the house, and it forms a low-lying cloud across the kitchen floor. And that cat, he just stands there with that cloud blowing by him, and he makes, I don't know if I could do a cat face, but I'll try. Tori, tell me how I do. He's kind of like,
It's like a cowardly lion face. It's pretty good.
And then he stomps off with only the indignity that only a cat could have,
I heard a dirty secret a while back, or a dirty rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard that occasionally Ben goes out and DJs.
Well, it would be somewhat of a rumor at this point. I DJ'd for 15 years, and I loved my time as a DJ. I still go out frequently, of course, and handle front of house for concerts or system tech for concerts. Right. Unfortunately, I have not gigged as a DJ in several years. And I know there's people out there that say, well, you're not a DJ. No, that's true, but I think I still have a fairly solid technical toolkit I can help you.
Once a DJ, you're always a DJ.
That's right. I tell people I'm a recovering DJ, but
So let me ask you this, Ben.
But I wouldn't be a good guy to ask about a set list anymore. I don't know what the kids are listening to.
I totally get that, and I understand. But
I can talk to you about the physical layer of DMX all day long. We can talk about the millivolts and
Hypothetically, Ben, here's a hypothetical for you.
All right,
you have, I don't know, a full-size pickup truck with a cab or something like that.
I do, yeah, quad cab, yeah.
You know exactly.
That's a little weird, yeah.
Because
we're friends. I'm just kidding.
Because and all of a sudden it's like, you know what? It's time to come out of retirement. You have to put together a system to go out and gig. You, with the knowledge that you have, what would you build?
Well,
wedding receptions, 150 to 250 people, average banquet hall stuff. What do you got?
Let me say that, remember, I'm used to rolling with 53-footers and doing arenas right now. It would be really hard to let go of that line array. I might be the only guy that's trying to back a semi up to the local elk club, Excuse me, where's your three-phase disconnect? I'm going to need 400 amps here,
And my hypothetical, all you have is a pickup truck.
No, I think it would depend. Obviously there's, we say it a lot on the Tuesday night show on Disc Jockey News, where I'm warming up for your show right after mine. We talk about all the time about having enough rig for the gig. And I think as long as you have realistic expectations about something like the Evolve or an Evox or that sort of thing, you can be very, very happy with those. If you want something that sounds like an 18-inch sub, then you're going to have to get an 18-inch sub, Right. And we just did an install at the church, and we put some dual 21s in there. And those things, I just love the way that box is voiced. And the way they represent some bass guitar notes, they just do things that 18s only dream of, and that doesn't mean that's the end all save all, but I guess the point is there's a lot of options. And so for me at 42 years old, a wedding for 150 people, I might rock that with some Evolves, cause I'm going to be in and out quick. I could carry both of them and, a school or something where I want a little more hit, I'm going to probably go in with 4 18s and a good set of tops, and we're going to, just, lay the wood to it. and again, I'm spoiled because when I push the faders up on my mixing console in an arena, I've got a $1 million sound system. And it's, after you hear that, it's kind of like drinking really good coffee and then going back and getting some truck stop coffee. And you're kind of like,
Totally understand. You do get spoiled with amenities
But I'll tell you what, that said, I mixed, for some things at ARM DJs on some EVETX, and I was pleased with it. I'm pleased with the Evolve. Obviously, there's things you find about any system. There's a reason we tune systems. There's a reason we have EQs.
Right.
But I think I could be very, very happy with, any of the speakers we just talked about.
Right.
As long as I have a good EQ, I think that would be the one thing I couldn't live without. It'd be a good parametric.
And that's the one bone I got to pick with you, Ben. That's the one bone.
All right.
And it's, you're doing nothing wrong, but it drives me crazy when you tell people, oh, here, look, the EQ is flat. See how nice that speaker sounds compared to that one? And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, who the hell runs a flat EQ all the time?
Well, you know what? The reason for that, and I can certainly appreciate the bone. The reason for that is I can make anything sound good.
Right.
And that's not an arrogant statement, but that's my job. That's what.
That's
Right.
with an EQ you can, yeah.
So I don't want people to come into a booth and hear high-level processing that was done, carefully, and say, "Wow, that speaker really does sound sweet." And then they get it home and they go, "That's not what I heard," because they're right. It's not what they heard.
Right.
I think I'd just as soon, and I think most sound professionals would appreciate to say, this is the speaker raw, this is the speaker flat. You can flavor it to suit after that, but you know what you're going to get right out of the box here.
Right.
So
And I do appreciate that. I mean, that's how it's nice to know, hey, like this, it's cool, but yeah, geez, tweak it. I mean, when I used to go in and demo speakers at stores, I mean, they would run that flat EQ and I said, would you get out of the way, please? And I would do my little mid cut. And
well, I did say that to somebody at NAMM last year, and I felt really bad because I think deep down I'm actually a really nice guy. I just don't act like it sometimes. And that sound guy in you comes out. That's just sort of. I'm even a really nice guy out on tour, but just there's that part of you. And I was at this booth, and this guy was playing this array, and it was a miniature hanging line array, and he was playing it too loud and, just trying to impress me with just sheer volume or something. And I said, is that EQ'd? And he says, nope. And I said, well, it needs to be.
Must have been that Yorkville dealer over there.
I'm not saying who it was. It doesn't matter who it was.
just somebody. It was just
I said, do us all a favor and take 2K down about 6 dB. My God.
Yeah. That's me. I'll walk into establishments here, especially, Blanca. We the Latin Club a lot, or we used to, I guess I should say. And when I would walk into some of these clubs, I'd turn around and walk right back out if the system was just shrill.
You get noise fatigue from that. You get what they call noise fatigue.
Ear fatigue.
Ear fatigue.
Ear fatigue. Yeah.
You hear that ringing the next day? That's that frequency saying goodbye. It's dying. It's the swan song of that.
That also has an effect on your dance floor, not only because it's irritating to people and not only because it fatigues their ears, but also because their brain is reacting to the excess of stimuli. It actually wears them out completely, emotionally and physically. It wears them out early.
Yeah.
I had a budget in the club back in the day, and I used to go about once a month or so. They'd come in and pink noise it. They'd actually run a pink noise through our system. Yeah, they charged a couple $100 for them to come out for an hour and a half to do that, but that sound system was set that way. I would have them do it like that. They'd come out and they do the old pink noise, where it sounds like a jet engine going off, and what a difference in the sound system after that was done.
This comment is not aimed at Ben, because Ben is definitely the exception to the rule. He understands what he's doing. But I am of the opinion, after working with sound professionals or professionals who are working the board at the state fair or at the bar, that if you're over 32 years old, you should probably retire from being a sound guy, because you cannot hear anymore. You're tuning for your ear and only you, because your audience is in pain.
I'll address
Thanks.
that by saying, you know, at 42, I'm sort of in agreement with you, except that I'm not going to say, because, you know, I believe me, I've worked with tour sound guys that just, you know, push everything to 11 or they can't hear anything above 8K. So they, you know, they rail it and you're all crawling under the table because you're like, holy moly. But I very much tune a system to my ear. I still do. But I use an RTA, a calibrated RTA as validation because I too don't trust the transducers that are stuck in my head for that reason. You know, my hearing's still pretty good, but I know it's beginning to be affected and it's going to continue to be affected. And so I think it's a twofold. I think it's continuously recalibrating your ears with a scientific instrument that is accurate always.
Right. No, and that's why I said you're the exception. Not only do you do that, but you've had the sense to take care of your hearing as well. You're not walking in front of
sound guys,
giant
Brian. I'll tell you, I don't know who's
protection.
I know a lot of good sound guys on tour. In fact, I know many that are much better than me. So I got to defend the sound pros and say, I don't know who you saw at the State Fair, but believe me, there are guys out there that, you know.
We got a town full of them. As soon as I see a sound guy with gray hair, I'm like, ah, shit.
Well, I'm getting a little, it's coming in.
I tell you, I told this story a couple weeks ago when I was doing New Year's Eve. I was playing with a band in a bar that does bands. And I looked at this guy, new guy, been there for 2 weeks, you know, look like Scott. I'll just say it. He looked just like Scott.
Good looking guy.
A good looking, really nice looking guy. Looked just like Scott. And I saw this guy. He's like, okay, let's tune your system. Dude, I took my EQ and I did like probably a 5 dB gain on my mid. And I took my bass and I cut it probably 3. And I said, okay, tune my system. I'm running flat. Because I knew after he left, I'd have to tweak it again. That was my way of getting what I needed out of the system later.
You wouldn't have to do that with guys like me or Ben. We would
I
approach
know
you and
that.
say, how can we help you?
Yeah.
See, a sound guy comes in with an attitude, and then guys like you are going to do that kind of tricky stuff. But if you approach them like, how can I help you? Then you'll be less likely to pull those kind of tricks.
Because if I say to this, you know what, this is, no, dude, it rocks. It sounds great. Well, of course it sounds great. You're freaking deaf. It's, you know, everybody else is in pain here.
I stopped running sound in church because it was just getting to the point where I don't think I get the same hearing as I did when
That's what Ben was talking about with the RTA. I mean, look, instruments are there for us to use, you know.
Well, and I'm pretty, despite it being, you know, deeply arrogant on some levels, I'm also very humble, you know, and I work with a lot of, we started a program at our local high school I guess this is the first full year it's rolling now for a Sound and Light Technician Academy. And so we're working with a lot of
cool
16, 17, 18. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, I wish that was around when I was in school, you know.
Me too.
2 reasons. One, you maybe find out it isn't the field for you, or maybe you find out it is, but it's a chance to explore that vocationally while you're still in high school. And then you can kind of chart a course. And, you know, we took a couple of high school kids and we out and did Josh Turner show. And we got shows coming up with Lee Bryce and Hailstorm that I think we're going to have some high school kids involved in a couple of those.
Nice.
And, you know, what a great opportunity to get out and of course we start with safety. That's the very first training they get. But anyway, it's a great opportunity when you're standing side by side with some of these younger people, you know, where I'll just kind of say, what do you think? I mean, does it sound all right? You know, and it's a little bright. I'm like, yeah, I want, you know, cause I'm starting to lose some of that upper end of my hearing. And, you know, that's just where it usually starts to go too.
What's cool is the kids can recognize it's bright. I like that they know that terminology.
Well, we're coaching them, you know, that's just like all of us had to learn it, you know, we're coaching them up to that, you know?
Yeah, that's great, man.
You using what they call the SAC? It's called the SAC system. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
I think it's a company that makes that software that you can actually run the entire soundboard on a laptop or on a touchscreen. It's something similar to what Mackey's got out and a few others, except it runs off of fiber optics.
Howie's got all the cool tools.
We run most of our consoles are Digico, which have that app ability. You know, which leads me to another thing. You know, you're right. There's unpleasant sound guys out there, and there's plenty of them.
They don't mean to be. They're just deaf.
Well, listen, if you've ever lived on a tour bus, you'll know why you get grumpy after a while.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you, there's another side of that coin, and I want to put this out there. And I realize this is a DJ show, and you know I love DJs. And so I'm saying this as a DJ, and as a friend to DJs. Don't bring your ego either, because you know the sound guy doesn't need that. I was doing a festival, and we had a DJ as part of a band, you know, kind of as part of the, you know, member of the band. Basically, we have guitars and DJs, kind of like Incubus kind of thing, you know. Like, and anyway, this DJ, we were having all kinds of trouble getting output out of his mixing board. There was nothing coming out of his DJ controller, and we said, you know, we told him, we said, we've got nothing from you. And he kind of got grumpy and snapped at me. He goes, it's a $700 mixing board. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, that's $500. I sell that mixing board. And I said, mine's $50,000. Like, you know, just, come on, man. Just, you know, and of course, finally he let me look at it, and I said, no, you don't have it routed to the mains. Click, click. Oh, there we go. All right. And he was all kinds of humble, but I'm like, listen, we just don't need that. Just all I'm trying to do is make sure people can hear you. That's all.
Oh, I'm never an asshole to these people. I just know what I'm in for sometimes. I think
he was just frustrated and couldn't figure out his situation, but yeah. Anyway.
Oh, it's just it's a small world out there too. I mean, you don't need to make any enemies. I mean, there are people I'm talking about that, I mean, I've worked with years and years and years in a row, you know, just festival after festival, and they're friends, but I know that they're freaking deaf. I got to do things to compensate for their lifestyle that they've been leading for the last, you know, since you know, they were roadies for Molly Hatchet kind of thing, you know.
Well, no wonder they're deaf.
And now they're doing the sound. It's that kind of guy, you know.
Ran an old PV mixer way back in the day.
You know what? We did sound, and I hate that. I don't mean to be name dropping. I just realized I didn't
just do it.
But we did sound not that long ago for Engelbert Humperdinck. Remember him?
After the loving.
He's still going.
Please release me, let me go.
That's my Get Freaky song I play for people my parents' age when they're at weddings. If I want to see them do Dirty Dancing, I put on After the Lovin' and they do it.
That's more information than I wanted to have. Do you want to know who his sound guy is? Who his front of house engineer is?
You?
No, it's the original drummer from Nine Inch Nails.
Really?
Talk about a change of, you know, and it's funny because this guy looks like he could, you know. Anyway, he's a great guy. We loved working with him.
Wow.
You know, I thought, wow, that's a change. You know.
Yeah, and a drummer who can still hear well to do that is pretty unusual.
He's actually a pretty good sound guy. Pretty good.
Phil Collins is like, look, I'm deaf, man. Hope it sounds good. He knows.
Good luck. Well, you know, because so many drummers use, you know, Texas headphones. Basically, you put drum stacks, you know, I mean, you know, subs and stack on both sides of them. We call it Texas headphones, but basically you're between a main PA blasting at your head.
Yeah.
And by the way, DJs, performance DJs who go out on stage and they want a couple line array boxes on each side blasting at them. I know they think it looks cool, but listen, we sound guys, we're not impressed. We're like, you're an idiot. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that box is designed to throw 100 feet. You're an idiot.
You did freeze on me, and it's a great freeze too.
Is it?
Yeah. It looks like the cover of your next rap album.
Oh no! Screenshot that for me.
I'm gonna have to. Print
Not back yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not unflattering like the last one.
Oh, that's good.
You look like a badass. Is what I'm saying.
You know what? That's good because I never do. Usually, whenever there's a still clip in like a YouTube video of me or something, I look like I just fell down a flight of stairs or something. I don't know. You know, like
I took this guy who lived across the street from me when I was a teenager. He taught Taekwondo, and he was like trying to teach me to be intimidating because I wasn't intimidating at all. I was like, well, what do you do? He's like, you got to curl your lips in like this. This looks really mean like this. That's the look you have on your face right now. Like you're just ready to kick somebody's ass.
Did it work?
I'm scared. I'm terrified.
Well, you know what? He's probably ready to kick somebody's ass that's fooling around with the controls while they're doing a sound check, and then they're going to turn it back.
You know, we just locked the console, so go ahead and touch what you want. It doesn't matter.
There you go.
You know, as part of this program we were just talking about too, one of the other things that we teach the kids, and this isn't just the first lesson, this is kind of a repetitive thing. You know, we talk about just general decorum, professionalism, politeness, and that sort of thing. And one of the things that we tell these kids repeatedly is you are far more likely to be fired from a tour for being unpleasant to live with than you are from being completely incompetent.
Yep.
So, you know, it's, you know, there again, just some professional decorum, and some of the stuff that I see on the forums just makes me shake my head, particularly when other trades are involved. And, you know, the way that other trades, photographers and caterers treat DJs, and sometimes the way DJs treat them. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, come on, everybody. You know, just a little professionalism goes a long ways.
That would be nice. You know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to break topic here, but Michael Thorma said in the chat room that you're a great ventriloquist, Ben.
One of my many talents, Michael. Yeah. Thank you. Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen, but it's 30 degrees, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's 30 below. You know what? I'm gonna just jump out and jump back in.
Well, don't do that. But before you do that, let's go ahead and break at this point because we're about at the hour mark. So we're gonna do 2 shows tonight. Yeah. This is show 1 of 2, and we're gonna give John Young a break by only recording an hour at a time. So that's it for the show. I hope you enjoyed the hangout. If you're here in the room, I'm not really leaving. I'm just saying this so John has an edit point. So stick around. But if you're watching this on YouTube, it's over. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.